June 6, 1944. Before sunrise, the English Channel disappeared beneath thousands of ships. From horizon to horizon, a fleet the world had never seen before. Between 4,000 and 7,000 warships, transport vessels and landing craft. Ahead of them stood the coast of France, fortified, mined, and ready to meet them with gunfire. Behind them was England, and between the two, cold water and one chance to change the course of the war. Inside those landing craft sat thousands of men. Some were silent, some prayed, some stared toward the shoreline, already knowing what was waiting for them. They did not know who would survive the day, but they knew one thing: there was no turning back now. That morning would decide the future of Europe. History would remember it as D-Day. And the operation had a name: Overlord. By the summer of 1944, most of Western Europe remained under German occupation. The French coastline had been transformed into a vast defensive line. Concrete bunkers, minefields, heavy artillery, anti-tank obstacles. The Germans called it the Atlantic Wall. The beaches of Normandy looked almost impossible to attack. And yet, that was exactly where the Allies were heading. The invasion plan was coordinated by Montgomery. At the same time, British intelligence was working with extraordinary precision. They even employed a Montgomery look-alike. He was deliberately shown in other regions to make German intelligence look the wrong way. Then came Operation Fortitude. An entire fake army was created: inflatable tanks, wooden aircraft, sound generators, fake radio traffic. Everything was placed opposite the narrowest part of the channel, all designed to convince Hitler the real invasion would come at Pas-de-Calais. And it worked. Even after the landings began, German commanders still believed Normandy might only be a diversion. But another enemy appeared: the weather. A violent storm nearly forced the invasion to be cancelled. Everything depended on timing. And then meteorologists found a narrow window of calmer conditions. Only a few hours. June 6th. The Allies made their decision, and they moved. During the night, the first phase began. Airborne troops were dropped behind enemy lines by parachute and glider, in total darkness. Many landed far from their intended positions. Some found themselves completely alone. Others came under fire immediately. Then the naval bombardment began. Warships opened fire on German positions. Moments later, aircraft joined the assault. The coastline was hit from sea and sky at the same time. 5 beaches: Utah, Omaha, Gold, Juno, Sword. The deadliest became Omaha Beach. American troops came under devastating machine gun fire, even before many landing craft touched the sand. In the first hours, losses were severe. The beach turned into chaos. Men fell under fire. Others kept moving forward, step by step, meter by meter. And right there, the momentum slowly began to change. Operation Overlord was not only a military assault, it was an enormous logistical operation. Roughly 2.5 million troops would eventually take part. More than 500,000 vehicles and equipment units. And supply was everything. Fuel pipelines were laid beneath the English Channel, running underwater, to the shore, to the vehicles, to the front lines. The scale was almost beyond imagination. By the end of that first day, Allied forces had secured key landing areas along the coast. Around 156,000 Allied troops had landed. The beachhead stretched roughly 80 kilometers along the coast and around 17 kilometers inland. German defenses were powerful. but not fully manned. And many commanders still believed the main invasion had not yet begun. That hesitation gave the Allies precious time. There is one detail that still feels unbelievable. German command lost precious hours during the opening of the invasion. Hitler had gone to sleep late the previous night, and critical decisions were delayed. Sometimes in war, a few hours can change history. On June 18th, Allied forces cut off German troops on the Cotentin Peninsula. Then, on June 29th, they captured Cherbourg, a deep-water port, and that victory mattered enormously. Before then, the Allies relied on improvised artificial harbours known as mulberry ports. But Cherbourg changed everything. For every single soldier, tons of equipment had to arrive. Altogether, close to 1 million individual items of supply: ammunition, fuel, food, medical supplies, spare parts, and everything needed to keep moving forward. Day and night, without interruption. Any delay could slow the advance. Cherbourg became a logistical breakthrough. D-Day became the beginning of the Allied advance into Western Europe, one of the decisive turning points of the Second World War. But behind every number were ordinary people, men looking toward the beaches of Normandy, not knowing if they would see another sunrise. And when we look back at that day now, it is impossible not to think about the price that changed history. June 6, 1944. The day Normandy became the beginning of Europe's liberation. The day that changed the world. And if you enjoy stories like this, I genuinely appreciate your support with a like, a comment, and a subscription. Leave your thoughts below. I always enjoy reading them. Your support truly helps me keep telling these stories and make each one even better.